as a professional sports person is a dream chased by many, but unfortunately obtained by few. But sport can provide a multitude of career paths, and that's something that the Malakai Alatini Trust is trying to do, using rugby and culture to connect players to new opportunities. In a new partnership with the Manukau Institute of Technology, the Trust is headed by a pair of Alatinis, brothers Tony and Peter. Welcome along, boys. Great to see you.
Thanks for having us, Sumo.
Hey, this is all stemmed from, obviously, both of you have had long involvement in rugby, as your father did as well, Malakai, but this is stemmed from seeing the need among young Tongan boys in particular, who you've been involved with through the Tongan Barbarians rugby, to stay attached post-rugby, to give these boys something else to do. Tony, for you, has this been somewhat of a mission?
A mission, challenging, but also at the same time, it's our passion as well, and the care for our kids, and it has been a journey so far. But again, it's our passion for rugby and what it can provide. That's probably our big push and our big why we want to do this and why we set up the trust.
But I mean, everyone knows you had a long professional career, an All Black career, so you know the challenges of playing professional sport at the highest level, and as we saw in recent months, you also addressed some of the challenges post-playing. Has that made you more empathetic now towards what a lot of these kids are going through, what they're trying to achieve, and what happens if they can't?
Yeah, for sure, Sumo. Look, and working at Pakuranga is also at grassroots level, seeing these kids who are our Tongan kids, our Pacifica kids, struggle with only thinking that rugby is the only way that they can live their life. So really getting the balance, really understanding themselves as a person, and not just based on footy. And obviously the studies and the work outside of that is really important to us, and we've gone through that. And my brothers, with the studies over the last few years, has really shown that it works hand in hand. So you can build some resilience outside of the rugby field that will actually help as well as you would play.
I want to give some context to our viewers here, those who might not follow professional sport in the same way that we do, but there has been a burgeoning market, Tony, for young Polynesian kids to be brought to New Zealand for schooling, and the promise that this will be good for your rugby career. We have seen the growth in this market. It is unregulated. Some would say it's out of control, and you guys see what can happen when there is no oversight. Is that part of what the Trust is trying to achieve, to put some oversight around these kids, some pastoral care for them when they're here in New Zealand?
Most definitely. And this is one of the big reasons why we started these conversations, because we've seen it. When we started this 4 years ago, we got invited to set up TVR. We knew there was always going to be talent around, We just didn't know how we were going to get the team together, but we said yes straight away to that invite. But along the way, we've seen so many kids that's come over, the stories, they get over, opportunity, great. Then they come over, but who's watching over these kids at all these big schools? They provide, the rugby, the high performance onto the field, but what's happening off the field, what's happening in the classes. Yeah. And that's a big reason, I think, for us. As soon as up there, we can go right across the board and hopefully bring that together. We can oversee this kid here who's down the line. Who's he with down there? Who's supporting him all the way down in Timaru or Christchurch?
MIT, why partnering with MIT, Manukau Institute of Technology?
Yes, big story here, and they've been fantastic. The connection is, again, me and Pete, we talk a lot. We're joining the hips, we think, and because of our love for rugby, we've seen what it's done for us. And MIT, I went back a few years ago. We get into that, Sumo, what are you going to do next? And we kind of took ourselves out of going back to study. And because MIT is in our backyard. It's in Otara. We grew up, knowing this big institution right in our backyard. But I went back, I stepped in the door and instead of doing diploma, got me in and done bachelor's degree. And voila, me and people were already with Tonga to some kind of day. We were coming in, how can we, we were always talking, and then we ran into one of the senior lecturers at MIT. And it just that first conversation has led us to where we are now.
So, to put it in perspective, MIT, through the Malakai Alatini Trust, trying to promote these Thailand boys predominantly, but also all Pacifica backgrounds, into diploma courses first, into sport and exercise, and then hopefully with the aim that if they're enjoying that study, they have a qualification, then they can move on through the degree program. I know Fran's here somewhere. He's taking shots. Actually, I think he's sitting in my chair. He's sitting in my chair. What's the value, Pete, for you, for these kids to go down that pathway?
We just understand that where the world and the climate is today, that sport is just part of your life, and we understand. And I even was more so myself coming through and seeing and working at a high level, going to World Cups. That as much as that's a real good dream, there's life after the game, and it's always spoken about, and it's a common conversation amongst the rugby players and such. But we want to put some action into it, and by providing this, we're hoping that we'll really be able to track our kids to have a fulfilling life. Really, is the key, Simo.
But I guess that's the great thing about a course like this, diploma or a degree like this. You can still be involved in the sport as you have for life, Tony, as you still are, Pete, through all your coaching in Pakuranga and now in social services. So it's about creating an involvement with a different pathway, not necessarily playing.
And that's right. And I think what our kids don't understand, and we didn't as well, of how much rugby and sport can give you those skills and use outside of that transfer. So it goes through, and it goes, like Pete said earlier, hand in hand. And the thing with the diploma is, and we know our Pacifica kids and their learning as well. One of those days we're going to get them out to the rugby clubs, to their environment, to the schools, and then they get on hands-on action straight away. Get them out there, do coaching, look at how events are run outside of the field, to get the experience along the way.
Malakai must be very proud of you, guys.
He's pushing us along, that's for sure.
MIT, get in touch if you're interested, or get in touch with the Malakai Alatini Trust. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks very much for having us.
Cheers, guys.
Awesome.